So thank you for coming to talk with us. And while you're at it, why don't you tell us your name and about your project?
All right, so my name is Albert Michelson, and I will be speaking about the project that I have done with my colleague, which we call the Michelson-Morley experiment. This experiment focuses specifically on the speed of light.
So what was the purpose of your project? Like, what were you trying to do or find?
So the purpose of this experiment was to find if light traveled at the same speed in all directions and to prove the existence of ether. I realized that just as sound has a speed relative to air, the speed of light must have something to relate this speed to. We believed light should be relative to the substance ether. So our experiment focused on sending light to a mirror to calculate the speed of it traveling. In theory, we could calculate it going one way and then the other coming back to us, which we call downwind and upwind, and subtract the difference in the two in order to get the most accurate reading of the speed of light. This is mainly because the flow of ether is flowing one way, for instance, like a stream, and we are sending light across it. If we do not send the light across at an angle pointing upwards, in theory, the light does not overcome the stream of ether to reach to the other side. So we corrected this problem in our experiment by placing an entire apparatus on a turntable so that we could rotate it to correct the angle we needed. We realized later that there is no reason for us to do this because the speed of light is indeed constant and there is no presence of ether within the universe. So even though we had it on a rotating turntable, we didn't necessarily need that in the end because we found our results to be inconclusive of the existence of ether.
So what kind of environment were you in and where were you at whenever you were conducting this experiment?
So we were in a lab at Case Western Reserve University, and this was conducted in 1887. So that is specifically where we did this experiment within that lab at the university.
So what other significant events were happening around the world at that time?
So specifically within physics, which is what we are studying within this experiment, the photoelectric effect was discovered by Heinrich Hertz as well as electromagnetic waves and radio. This helped move our scientific understanding of the quantum nature of light.
So you said your colleague was also part of. Who was your colleague?
Yes, so the colleague that I worked with during this experiment was Edward Morley, and he was very, very helpful. Helped me to conduct experiments and do things to help us get the data and have it to be able to publish it.
Okay. What was your role in the project?
So my role in this project was to help build the system. So I put together all the mirrors, the beam splitter, the detector, and the source. I measured out everything to make sure they were around the right areas that they needed to be. I was also one to realize that if the existence of ether was there, we needed to put it on a turntable so that we could prove that better. But we did not end up actually needing that. So it was irrelevant, but I'm glad that we thought of it to help prove our point that it was not existent, that ether does not exist.
So what was the impact your project had on the physics community?
So this helped specifically our physics community to realize that there is no existence of ether. So this proves that the speed of light is constant and unchanging even in different directions. So we know that other people can use this to know that there is no differences, such as I mentioned sound earlier. So there is no difference no matter what direction or no matter what it is traveling through light, and the speed of light is always going to be constant.
Okay. So I was talking with a couple people and they brought up the Great Failure. And they also brought up your name. So why did so many people call your experiment the Great Failure?
Right, so I have often heard that from people, and we've had comments on that. So some people speculated that just because we found there is no difference of velocity regardless of the direction, and we do not have a presence of ether in the universe, I don't consider it a failure. So I don't consider any scientific discovery a failure. So any experiment that continues research and encourages exploration is not a failure. I also believe that because this helped the physics community know for 100% a fact the speed of light is always constant, it's always unchanging, that this experiment is not a failure in the slightest, no matter what has been heard or told by other people. Because we conducted it, we were able to prove something, even if it's a disprove. Even if we disproved our own theory, we know that that is not, it's not in existence, so we're not having to worry about that. And now that it has been already researched, nobody has to go back and research it again.
Okay. Well, thank you for taking time out of your day to come and talk to me.
All right. Well, thank you.